So Barry Weiss left around the same time.
Oh, yeah.
That's a narrative that I've had some people pitch to me as like, you should basically like go in on that. Like, this is Nicki and Cardi B right here. Like, you need to pit them against each other. Is
well,
that
she's
accurate?
not a journalist. She's not a journalist. She worked on the opinion section. So she never worked in the newsroom, which, you know, I think is a big distinction. And I think Barry, you know, Barry posted a lot of false about the newsroom, and that's what annoyed me about it. Like, look, I don't think it was, I mean, I was there in 2020 when people were doing like the axe emoji on her name, and she was like, I'm being bullied. I don't think people were nice to her. I'm sympathetic to that. But she never worked in the newsroom. She was always on the opinion side. So my feeling is like, I don't speak on the opinion side at the New York Times. I've never worked on that side. It's completely separate from the newsroom. She's never worked as an actual journalist at the New York Times. She's never worked as a reporter. So why are you speaking on that? And now she's got her little, you know, whatever thing going, her media company, where she just posts like biased shit all day, which is fine. I mean, she's an opinion columnist, but like, I don't know. I've had friends that have worked for her, and it's...
They didn't love it?
She has a specific point of view. If you agree with her worldview, and by the way, I think a lot of media, I'm not singling her out, if you agree with her worldview and you want to write articles that never challenge that worldview, go work at the Free Press.
But they've done some work that I was like really impressed by, like in particular that fucking dog walker, or was it a bird watcher in New York who got smeared as being racist?
She didn't. Yeah, let's be clear. She wasn't the one that debunked that.
You're right, but it came on her platform, so I was like kind of.
Yeah, she loves to grift off other people. I mean, look, I think there is a role for debunking those types of like viral things that feed into people's narrative. Like, that's great. I think generally she doesn't really do that stuff. She kind of posts a lot of just like opinion, commentary and opinion, which by the way, that is what she's good at. That is what she did at the New York Times. She's a commentator and an opinion person, and she's great at it. You know, it's also when you cater to powerful people, when you tell, you know, all these people what they want to hear, you're going to get a lot of money and funding for your media company. If I went out and said, actually, billionaires are so great and the wokes are coming to cancel me and I need $10 million for my media company, please, because I'm being silenced. Sure, I bet I could actually raise money.
That is probably my main complaint, too, is this is like that bird watcher story. Or am I fucking it up? Is it a dog walker?
Yeah.
No, it was a dog walker.
Yeah, it was like the dog. I think it was a dog walker. But
it was like a vaguely racial conflict. I forget exactly how it went.
Well, the guy was like a bird watcher.
Right. I feel like there's just a little too much of that for my taste, of just like, well, you thought that this story was this one way, but actually it was quite different. I don't know if I'm maybe like oversimplifying, but like there's definitely been moments where I'm like, do you not get tired of just sort of running this thing?
I just think it's like, do it for the other side. Like, that's my issue with people like that. I'm like, great, debunk the woke person was wrong or whatever in this instance. And by the way, all of those types of things, like all those kind of viral stories, like they're always more complicated than you imagine. But it's just so exhausting. It's like, lady, shut up. You're not being like, it's this persecution complex that a lot of those people have where I'm like, you've got millions of dollars, you got your own media platform, you're on Bill Maher all the time. Like, you have a huge platform. You're not being censored.
They would say that they're speaking on behalf of people who don't have the power and the luxury of, you know, making a shitload of money.
All they're doing is defending institutional power. That's what her whole platform's about. She's certainly not defending underrepresented groups. She's certainly not defending, you know, people who have been deplatformed. When is the last time she platformed, you know, somebody that's like the porn stars, the people that have actually been silent? Like, she's not doing that. I would respect the hell out of her if she did that. But
I've tried to get you to pick up on that in the past of like, we need to draw attention to the way that these social media platforms are. Like, the main thing that really got me was just like early pandemic when every porn star was just losing their Instagram over and over and over. And it was like, there's this whole seedy network of people like, you know, charging girls to get their pages back and shit.
Yeah.
And I always felt like I couldn't really get anybody to take it serious or want to draw attention to it, even though now it feels like it's gotten a little bit better, but I still hear about this kind of stuff quite a bit.
I don't even know if it's gotten that much better. I do think that I mean, here's the thing with the losing access to the account is that Instagram openly says we don't want these types of people on our page, and they are going to ban them, and they're shitty to them. And it's almost like, it's hard to kind of think of a angle on that sometimes. But I mean, I wrote about, what did I write? I mean, I've written a few stories about that. I've written about people getting banned, and I've written about nudity, and I actually wrote about the nudist community on Twitter, like who are just non-sexual nudists, which is a whole community. They've been they were pushed off Tumblr, they were pushed off Instagram. Like, Twitter is their last bastion because it's the only app that allows even nudity.
That's really funny because I was reading this book about the history of the porn industry in America, and that's one thing that I got from it is that there was basically like you could buy a videotape of a nudist colony way before people started actually making porn.
That's so crazy.
Just because this was like the only reason or the only place that they could find a bunch of naked people. It hadn't really occurred to them to like get people to get naked.
Yeah.
Like, we have to go find the people that are already naked.
There's a great nudist bar in Key West. I think it's called like Garden of Eden or something.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's all a bunch of old, nude, extremely suntanned
And you
people.
can wear clothes or you have to not wear clothes?
You can wear clothes, but it feels weird to go there clothed. I mean, I went there clothed in like a dress and I felt weird as fuck.
Holy shit, that's super funny. Did you feel like you only truly became like a scapegoat / target of the right from the libs of TikTok thing, or did that just further add to it? Because I feel like that was kind of like the main thing.
Yeah, I think it was actually when Tucker Carlson started doing a lot of segments on me in like 2021, 2020.
Right.
So he sort of like latched on to me for whatever reason. And just like none of it was so weird. None of it was ever about my articles. It was just like this woman, like, you know, whatever, we hate her. So I think like Fox News started, and then of course I did. I mean, I've always reported on right-wing influencers, but I think like the libs of TikTok thing pissed people off because I revealed her identity, and people disagree with that decision.
Right.
I totally stand by that decision, but yeah, I think that was like a turn. I think like the Tucker kind of like lit the flames, and then the libs of TikTok was like kerosene, and now everyone thinks they have a certain perspective about me now, I think.
Right. I kind of liked like the OG libs of TikTok where it felt less editorial and more just like, hey, look at this crazy thing we found on TikTok. When there wasn't like in-depth captions and shit, I felt like they were doing a little bit more of a service in terms of like, hey, you can make of this whatever you want, whereas now it feels more activist.
I'm a fan of cringe accounts. Like, I don't know if you follow Fave TikToks 420, like, there's a lot of cringe accounts that have a specific type of cringe, and like I love those accounts. And look, some of them are making fun of sort of, or like kind of tongue-in-cheek jokes. A lot of them are like ethical and they will take things down if content creators ask for it. But like, you know, I wrote a piece in Rolling Stone last year, like defending cringe and sort of like cringe content. And like, there's a lot of people making intentional cringe, you know? I think LGBTQ people have always been seen as cringe in certain communities. And yeah, like if she was just sharing cringe stuff from LGBTQ people, like whatever, that's her right to do. It's her, like, she tweeted out the fucking names and addresses of LGBTQ people. And also she's directly influencing, I mean, my feeling was like she was directly influencing state legislation in Florida. And I don't think that you should be able to do that anonymously. And yeah, she's editorializing the hell out of it. Like, it's like, that wasn't a neutral, I didn't follow her pre-Joe Rogan started to talk about her, but she just got like really extreme. And I totally agree. It's like if you just had a feed of TikToks, there's so many accounts like that and they're not controversial.